Hey, I'm back. Yep, another video. I just can't stop talking. uh, no, there are a lot of things that I am trying to get out, and I'm trying to get them out in shorter videos so people can quickly do a hit and run, watch, get the point, and move on. Because, let's face it, most of us don't have an hour to sit at the table and watch a YouTube video about someone rambling on. I mean, that's borderline church, so we don't want to do that, do we? That's a joke, by the way. So, I'm just trying to do a lot of quicker videos. Again, this is my purpose, so I'm just trying to offer different perspectives and ideas. Maybe they are good for you, maybe they're not. Always keep that in mind. And that has a little bit about to do with what I wanted to talk about today. I came across a video by Teal Scott, and it was all about saying no and saying yes to yourself. And there's a lot of talk about, with a lot of the newer teachers, that the focus has to be on yourself. You have to do what you want to do, and to worry about yourself first. And I agree with that, but I don't necessarily agree with how it's being presented all the time. First of all, I want to establish that our soul is never in a state of want or need. Our soul is always connected to Source. There is never anything that it can ever lack because of that. It is our ego that wants and needs. The ego, if you will, is the vehicle for which the soul can experience and learn in physical reality. So there is talk about, removing the ego. Maybe that's too harsh of a way to say it. I would say that maybe our goal and our focus should be more about mastering the ego and understanding it. When is it ego that demands this, and when is it truthfully intuition or from a place of the spirit? So with that in mind, I wanted to just say that point out that in my mind, ascension cannot happen in the world until it happens within. So spiritually speaking, you have to get your house in order first. If I'm addicted to drugs, I can't go help someone get off of drugs, generally speaking. So if I'm not studying spiritual topics and expanding my awareness and constantly seeking to grow and learn myself, how can I help someone who is just starting to learn and is looking for more growth within themselves? If I stick in a rut and I stay there and I'm at that, say, beginner stage, I can't help anyone go beyond the beginner stage because I've never sought to go further. And what people call enlightenment or illumination, this is a journey. That isn't a destination. If you ever say you're enlightened, well, you are about as far from it as there could be. So keep that in mind. We are all on a journey. We are all expanding and growing. In physical form, we do have a veil of forgetfulness, and this is because it wouldn't be a test if you knew all the answers. You couldn't learn anything if you already knew everything. So we willfully come knowing that our understanding of who we truly are will be hidden from us. There are ways to learn, and that is kind of the point. That's what illumination means, when you become this point of being aware on a cosmic level. But again, it's not a point, it is a journey. There's always higher realms and levels and more expansion that we can do. So, the idea that in some of the videos that I've seen where people are like, if you want to make more money, that needs to be your priority. If that's where you resonate and that's where you're at in the journey, I agree. Uh, but wanting more money and is a product of the ego. And you can tell the differences. There's spiritual and then there's physical. Physical, ego. Spiritual, source, God. So what is happening is people are trying to align the world with their ego. And the ego has all these wants and desires. And we're being told by a lot of teachers that we need to be focusing on our wants and desires. Well, like I said, wants and desires are ego, because the soul has no wants and desires, because the soul is complete and has everything. Totally, totally complete. Because if the soul had a desire, that would implicate that the source of all isn't whole and actually lacks, and therefore wouldn't be source in the first place. So that's why I've come to that conclusion myself. So we have people over here trying to align the world to their ego under the guise of a spiritual concept. But what we should be focusing on, especially in these times, is aligning our soul to source, even more so. Because the more aligned you are spiritually to the Creator, the more that's going to expand and make you more aware of ego and give you more mastery over your ego. You can't really destroy the ego without just pretty much dying, because it's our vehicle for this experience. It's not necessarily to be thought of as an enemy, because there are great opportunities to learn with the ego and to use it for beneficial reasons. I just wanted to do the video on what I perceive to be an imbalance in focus. We need to work on aligning our soul closer to the spirit. And then we need to work on recognizing what the ego is wanting and desiring and why that is, and how to manage that. Does not mean that you have to be poor or that you can't try to make a good living. It doesn't mean that you aren't supposed to enjoy the nicer things in life. That's not at all what that means. It just means that focus on source first. Focusing on source will automatically bring you everything. And in the Bible they talk about that. You know, when you ask the Creator, ask and it is given. And you're over here on your own trying to make everything work on your own totally. The ego anyways. The ego's working all by itself trying to make everything happen. You've taken out all that is. So you've separated yourself from everything that there is, and you're trying to, but through your ego alone, make everything come to you. But if you set the ego to the side, focus on source and developing your communication there, all that is, you can't help but have all that is. And you'll understand that there are no real wants or desires, because you already have it all. I hope this makes sense to you. Ego is over here. Source, soul, over on this side. Source has everything. You don't need to want or desire. Things will just automatically come to you when you need them. You don't even have to occupy your mind with I wants and I needs. And that's where we're going. Now, I'm not perfect in that. It's a growing process. You know, it's like I said, once you're there, I mean, chances are you're moving on to the next phase of life, which is up there. Or you know. So, with that being said, you have to make the decision what message and what focus is right for you. This is, as a teacher, what I feel needs to be said. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take it. I'm a big believer in that there are teachers and messages and channels for all different people on all different spots in the walk, in the path out. It takes us back to source. So take the things that I say that resonate and work with them, think on them, meditate and form your own conclusion and build upon it. What doesn't resonate that I say, leave it here. I've watched many teachers. When I mentioned Teal Scott earlier, love Teal Scott. I don't always love all of her work. So keep that in mind, and hopefully that will help you kind of see things from a different perspective. Why try to align the whole world to your ego's wants and desires when you can align your soul with source and have all that is and be totally complete? No wants, no desires, because it's already there for you. So keep that in mind. Maybe chew on it, spit it out, swallow it, whatever. If it tastes good, keep it. I hope it helps. And with that note, we will see you next time. Namaste.